To use a manual tax deduction card weekly, first of all go to 3wsrevenue.ie, and when you open the page, up here at the top right corner in the search box, type in tax deduction card weekly and press search or enter. Here you will see an option, maintaining your records before the 1st of January 2019, and click once on that to open it up. And if you scroll down the page, you will see the options down here for a tax deduction card weekly, a tax deduction card monthly. You will also see the USC weekly and the USC monthly. And the two that we'll be using will be the tax deduction card weekly and the USC weekly. So first of all, click on that to open it up. And when it opens at the top, you'll put in the employee's name here, the employee's address, their PPS number, the employer's name and the employer's number, and also the tax year, for example, 2019. Here put down the tax rate, so up to the standard rate cut-off point at the currently in 2019 is 20%, and the higher rate is currently 40%. Here put down the total tax credit that the person has. Now remember, a tax credit currently in 2019 is made up of $1,650 for the employee and also $1,650 for the PRSI. So that comes, when you add the two together, to 3300. No need to put in the commas. The total cut-off point for a single person as of 2019 is 35300. Now down here on the computer you have the option to press calculate, and when you press calculate on the computer, what it does is, for the cut-off point, it takes your 35300, so your 35,300, and divides it by 52. So on week 1, in the cumulative, week 1 it is 678.85. Week 2, that's it multiplied by 2. Week 3, it's the 678 multiplied by 3, and so on. For the 3,300, this would come into the cumulative tax credit weekly. So down here, the 3,300 divided by 52 gives you 63.46 in week 1. Double it, 126.92 in week 2. After that, you then put down the gross pay. So that would be the gross pay less superannuation, and then the cumulative amount. So for example here, for week number 1, we're going to put down that the person earned €500, and we're not including anything with pension. We'll say that's outside of pension. Here, the cumulative gross pay would be €500. What you do here is you look and see which one is the smaller of the two. So for example, the amount we just typed in is smaller. So the smaller amount gets multiplied by tax rate 1, which is 20%. So 500 multiplied by 20% is €100. The only time you'll have tax rate 2 is if the cumulative cut-off was the smaller of the two amounts. So for example, if that was €700, then you'd be taking the 678.85 at tax rate 1, and whatever was left over, the balance, at tax rate 2. Because there is no tax rate 2, just put in a dash there, add the two together, we get 100. Now what we're going to do here is I'm just going to put a little minus sign. So we take the €100 minus the 63.46, and inside in that we get 36.54. So we type in here on the screen 36.54. As this is week 1 in the year, the full amount, 36.54, is the amount that's deducted inside it. For week number 2, we'll say again they earned another €500. Now 500 plus last week's €500 now gives us a new cumulative of 1,000. Notice we're not putting in any commas. Again, you look at the two amounts on the screen and you can see the 1,000 is smaller than the 1,357.69. So the smaller number gets multiplied at tax rate 1. So the smaller number, so that's 1,000 multiplied by 20%, will give us 200. Again, there is nothing at the higher rate, and remember, it will only have something at the higher rate if this number here was the smaller of the two numbers that were on the screen. So in here again, we just put a dash, add the two together, you get €200. Again, we're going to minus the cumulative cut-off point of 126.92, and that gives us 73.08. To work out how much tax was actually deducted this week, you take your 73.08, you minus last week's cumulative tax, which was 36.54, which gives us 36.54. For week number 3, we'll say the person did some overtime. So the employee now got €900. 900 plus last week's cumulative gross pay brings us a new cumulative of 1,900. Again, the 1,900 is smaller than the pre-printed number that's there, so the smaller number gets multiplied by tax rate 1, and that is the 20%, and that gives us 380. Again, there's nothing at the 40% rate. Add the two together, we get 380. 380 minus the cut-off, the cumulative tax credit of 190.38, and that gives us a number of 189.62. So you take your 189.62, you minus last week's cumulative, and that gives us an amount of 116.54. So that's the amount of tax that the person will actually be paying this week. Down here for week number 4, we get an amount of 650 pay. So add that 650 onto last week's cumulative gross pay of 1,900, and you get 2,550. The 2,550 is the smaller of the two amounts on the screen, so the smaller one gets multiplied by 20%, and that gives us 510. Again, there's nothing at the 40% rate. Add the two of those together, you get 510. And again, we're going to minus the cumulative tax credit as of week 4. So this is, at the moment, 4 weeks of 63.46. So that comes to 253.85. So the 510 minus 253.85, and that gives you 256.15. To work out how much tax is actually deducted this week, you take this week's cumulative after week 4, 256.15, minus last week's cumulative of 189.62, and that gives us an amount of 66.53. Down here for week number 5, again the person earns 650 due to overtime, and when you add your 650 onto last week's 2,550, you get the amount of 3,200. Again, this amount is the smaller of the two, so the smaller of the two gets multiplied by 20%, so our 3,200, and that gives us 640. There is nothing at the higher rate, so just put in a dash there. Add the two rates together, you again get 640. You minus the cumulative tax credit, so this is 5 weeks of our 63.46, and that's 317.31. And the amount we get is 322.69. Over here you take your 322.69 minus last week's cumulative tax of 256.15, and you get 66.54. So remember, on this manual tax deduction card, you put in your tax credit for the employee, and if it's a single person and there are no extras, they get 3,300, the two 1650s added together. The cut-off for a single person is 35,300. When you press calculate down here, what happens on the computer, it divides the 35,300 by 52 to give us the weekly cumulative cut-off point, and over here the 3,300 for the tax, and you divided that, so that gives you your tax credit, so divided by 52 gives you 63.46, and 126.92 would be double it, and so on the computer.